What were the issues that came up in the circle right after they got the news about
right
a
after
classmate being shot?
Yes, so I think for a lot of kids the issues were is my neighborhood safe? What if this were me? I mean, how can they avoid thinking, what if it were me?
What's the mood like when they're,
Yeah, they were like, some were really, really crying, like hysterically, and it was really hard. Just, I don't know, how often do you break news like that to people? Like, not often. Do you walk into a group of 30? No, we had 60 kids in each room and say, like, your classmate was shot yesterday. He's okay. He's in the hospital. He's gonna be fine. But you got to know that, right? And
how do you even be trained to do that?
Nobody's trained to do that. I mean, yeah, you could probably go to a training all about how to break news to kids, but it's like, you just have to like be a person. Like, how would I say this to my own children? And I think that like beating around the bush doesn't work either, because then you create like this nervousness. It's like you have to come right out with it. It's like you have to come right out with it. We have some terrible news. This person was shot yesterday, and we're here to talk about it. So let's talk about it. And then we just let kids say how they felt. And we told them in advance, like, we're going to sit here until everybody says whatever they need to say. So we're not doing regular class right now. We're going to take all the time that we need to talk about this. And if you don't feel comfortable talking in this atmosphere, you can talk to so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so after. And
therapists or counselors.
But we did feel, it was interesting because we did a poor job following up. Like, we didn't go back a week later, like, how are you guys feeling? We know you went through trauma. Like, we're kind of like off our game about that one. And that class was also, even in 6th and 7th grade, they were just like a more emotional group than other groups that we've had. They just had more personal trauma in their lives, like the psychological effects of poverty or divorce, or it was just a more emotional group. And so in some ways, I feel like if we had gone down that road a little faster, it kind of came to us, 2 months later, like, hey, you know what, we need to do a little more work with these kids.
Well, you are human beings.
Yeah,
so.
no, we stumble. So, but at least we kind of recognize, like, what is going on in this class? A lot of kids were getting in trouble. A lot of kids were having behavior, and usually by 8th grade, 6th and 7th, they have problems, and then by 8th grade, they kind of pull themselves together, but they're still having problems with behavior and obnoxiousness in class and just normal stuff. But what was going on, in my opinion, was they needed extra care, extra attention, extra love, extra talking, extra processing, extra acknowledgement about not just that trauma, but where that trauma sits. Like, it was sort of like this. We created this little bubble at our school of nirvana, and then, oops, bubble was punctured by this thing. And like, do we recover and try to recreate the bubble, or do we say, no, let's take this puncture and understand how it mixes in with the reality that is everybody's lives, and don't try to ignore it and don't try to pretend it's not there. Like, this is part of our nirvana.
I think that's true for everybody. We're all wanting our little nirvana, and then it gets punctured.
But our
and we
trauma
have to
is
over
part
and
of our
over
nirvana.
again.
It's not like a separate thing.
Our trauma is part of our nirvana.
Yeah, it has to be. So, like,
that's
how we deal with it.
That's the big lesson.
Yeah. No, that's today's lesson. Okay.
Thank you, Beth.